Welcome to the Big Fat Gay Podcast, where we talk about the things that are weighing on our minds. I'm Trevor Keyson. I'm a super chub, and gobble gobble, everybody. It's the day before Thanksgiving. Maybe you're doing some stuffing prep while you're listening. Maybe you're you realized it's the day before Thanksgiving and you forgot to take the turkey out. Better get on that.
Oh, no.
No.
That would be terrible.
You just stressed out half our listener audience. It's like, did I do it? Yeah.
Do not fry your frozen turkeys. Hi, my name is Michael. I am a chaser, and I concur with Trevor. Gobble, gobble, motherfucker. That's right. It's about to get turkey up in here. We have a Thanksgiving-themed episode today. Who's up next?
My name's Don. I'm a big chubby guy living here in sunny Hollywood, and today I am a well-stuffed stuffing boy. I cannot wait for Thanksgiving stuffing. I was researching stuffing for a bit that we're not doing, and I fell in love with all these stuffings that I found.
I just you must be a stuffing boy, because there was a point where you were pitching a stuffing tasting episode.
Yes, I love stuffing, but when I started researching stuffing, I discovered that stuffing is pretty much stuffing wherever you go. It's there was nothing serious. The most horrific stuffing I could find was oyster stuffing, and being from New England, that's not that shocking to me.
I want that. My name is Dan Oliverio, author, public speaker, and chubby chaser. And we are up in Monterey visiting my cousins for Thanksgiving.
Ooh,
Oh, have fun.
fancy.
Yes.
That sounds nice.
Not at the moment, but you will be
by the time
this
people
comes
listen
out.
to this.
Not
by the
while
time
we're
people listen
recording.
to this.
Where are you So you two are headed to Monterey. Michael, where are you headed?
I'm going up to Seattle. My whole family's heading up there to my older sister's
that
place.
sounds nice.
It'll be good. It'll be nice Thanksgiving vibes. I think it'll be nice and cool. Maybe a little bit of rain, which we don't get here, so it's a novelty. And then we get to leave and come back to the sun.
Try and hit the fish market while you're up there. I hear during Thanksgiving, it's supposed to be really a fascinating place to stroll through.
I have been there before. It is gorgeous.
Oh, I
It is
love that place. Yeah.
Pike's Place? Yeah.
Well, this is it. This is our Thanksgiving episode for the year. Apologies to our international audience if you guys have just no real clue or interest in what we're talking about.
I thought I would do a short little half-hour lecture on the history of Thanksgiving.
Good. Okay.
International.
So we'll just come
listeners.
back after that.
And I'll interrupt him and just let our international listeners know Thanksgiving is a day Americans put aside. Well, North Americans put aside to thank everyone, thank the world for what we have received.
And there's a lot of politics around celebrating a time that was sort of horrible and colonist and very Christopher Columbus coming to the Americas and then being a monster, and maybe not so much celebrating that, but just the idea of having a day that you take time to give thanks for the things in your life.
Yeah, many cultures actually do have a day of thanks.
I will say that I think to our international listeners, Thanksgiving is a day where Americans eat their faces off, and so they have enough energy to go get in fights over TVs on sale at 5 a.m. the next day.
Black Friday. Yes, it is wild. So we figured we'd do a sort of a short and sweet little mini treat of an episode before we get our vacation started, and give you guys something nice to think about at the end of November as we go into the winter time. So we have all done the very, very classic thing of finding something that we are particularly and especially thankful for this year, and we're going to share them, and it's going to feel good and nice, and that's the whole vibe we got going on right now.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a delightful Thanksgiving bit, probably not stuffing related, as Don has pointed out. Not enough wild and weird stuffing out there.
I think we should have a little sound effect here of tapping the wine glass.
Oh, ding, ding, ding,
Ting, 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 ting.
Yes, exactly. And then the matriarch of the family stands up and instructs everybody, and all the kids at the kids' table have to stop their shenanigans. So
Oh my God,
Billy, stop it.
That's exactly going to happen tomorrow.
Cut it out.
Thanksgiving Day, my aunt will stand up, and that's exactly what will happen.
Yes.
This is what happened in my family.
Absolutely.
It's how it goes. Who is going to get us started today? Are we going to go in podcast order, or are we going to go out of order?
I guess I will be the matriarch.
Okay.
Damn it.
Trevor's standing
Yeah,
up.
Dan, cut it out.
Did you not hear me?
Shut up. Calm down.
I don't want all the good thanks to be taken.
That's true. If you go first, you can give thanks for anything you want, and then all the people after you, they're not allowed to repeat.
Oh, I know.
So
this is my strategy. That's why I'm the matriarch, baby.
Okay. Well, Dan, you've been screwed.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You're last.
Wop, wop, wop.
So this year, it's been a year, everyone. I think we can all agree on that.
Here,
Oh,
here.
boy, that's it.
I'm raising a glass.
Yes. Same.
And I am thankful for, I feel like this is kind of cheating, like our podcast listeners, but specifically having had the opportunity to do a live show.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And
my
meet our
God.
listeners and go to an event and just see people. And, so I'm thankful to our listeners. I'm thankful to the Bigger City team. I'm thankful to Edward, RIP, because, we hit 100 episodes this year. And I feel like we were kind of like, it was a milestone, but it didn't really feel like it just because everything is still kind of weird because like we're still in pandemic, but kind of out of quarantine.
And most of those episodes were Zoom episodes like this. I mean, they were, on the listener end of things, hearing the Zoom episodes, we've been told that you don't really tell the difference. But for us, it feels very different.
Massive.
Yeah.
It's very different. We're sitting in our room and, when we say something, it takes a moment for the reaction to come through the video screen. And it's interesting. It's an interesting experience to go back and forth between the two ways we've been recording lately.
Yeah.
So to have 100 episodes now.
100 episodes, but also like it was really just a like, I don't know, it felt like the start of a new chapter and just kind of, it was reinvigorating to like get to be in a room with people doing this and meet people whose lives we've impacted and make friends. And I just think that was a really great opportunity and I'm thankful for it, even though I got COVID.
We all did.
Yeah.
It was a price worth paying. It was a price worth paying.
And it's like, what a way to get COVID out of.
Yeah.
I will say for that to be my first time getting COVID in 2 years and for that to be the cost, given that vaccines and boosters are a thing, yes, that was worth it. It was amazing to make it real in a way. I mean, we've said this before, but even with mailbags and being able to talk to people on Instagram, like it feels like working in a vacuum a little bit. Like we do this because the four of us like to hang out and talk and bullshit for an hour. And then we get to send it out into the world and hope it helps.
It was even more. Sorry, go.
No, I was just going to say, but to like meet people in the room and like actually make it real, like tangible, like genuine connections that are happening and forming, like that was on a whole other level.
Especially for me, I don't have a very big social media footprint, so I think you guys have more interactions with people than I did. So for me, it was
not me.
Oh no, okay.
Dan, I think, and Don are both in the same camp.
Yeah. So the Vegas event for me was very much an eye-opening event. I didn't realize that what we were doing was making that much of an impact for some people, and that made everything feel very worthwhile.
Yeah. I mean, because it's, on one level, it isn't really work in the traditional sense, but it is a consistency of effort, like sustained effort over years that eventually you start to kind of settle into a pattern and whatever. And so like having that, like that really feels like a pinnacle moment to me. Like that was a seminal experience.
The point is, if you're listening to this, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Michael, what are you grateful for?
But not if you weren't there. If you weren't there, fuck you. I would love to do another live episode.
Oh,
That'd be
God,
amazing.
yes. That'd be wonderful.
But not in Florida, sorry. And also not in Texas, sorry.
No, there's an inner tube event happening in Vegas or Texas that involves floating down a river very soon. And like,
oh boy.
I'm not going because it's Texas.
Well, and whatever happened oh no, that was the wave pool at Bigger Vegas. Anybody who was at Bigger Vegas 2022 knows what we're talking about. Anyway, what am I thankful for? I have a very big one. It's very obvious though. I am thankful for my partner, my boyfriend, Michael, who, yes, on the one hand, that's very sort of like, well, of course you are. But this year for me has been just so many major life changes and moments and like ups and downs. I mean, it's good and bad. A lot of both, and not a whole lot in the middle. Just a lot of very turbulent things. The first half of the year, from basically January to June, I was working just well beyond my capacity to keep my own sanity. This was when we were trying to start. This is why we started the Patreon, because I just couldn't keep it together. I was building up to the Disney show for BGMC, and that was this massive project. I did all the video with that, along with working on a feature documentary, along with working on all these other things. And I was so deeply, unbelievably stressed. And he has been just so much of a stabilizer for me, and like a positive like force in my life, where for me, like, stability is the number one most important thing. And if I don't have stability, it's impossible to do anything else. And this time of the world is very, very unstable. And so it just sort of seeps down into everything else. And we moved in together. Like we took these major big steps together, and I just don't know how I would have survived. I mean, even just this summer, I have a feature documentary that I've been working on for about 1.5 years now. It's done. We've been working in distribution, and there was this disaster where basically the higher ups at the Boston Gay Men's Chorus, not Craig, he left, the other higher ups decided to try and kill the documentary. They wanted it to not go anywhere, basically out of spite. And this was a passion project that I have poured my heart and soul into for the last however long. And that was like devastating to see that almost happen. And unfortunately now we're past it. It is actually available for streaming now as of like 2 days ago.
Ooh, nice.
But which is very exciting. And so that's great. But like in that time period where I thought I had just lost a huge piece of myself to pettiness, Michael was there like every single day to like help pick up the pieces, and the things that I would usually do, like cook dinner or whatever, like he was there to do those things for me sometimes. And yeah, I don't know how I would have coped with that on my own. That would have been absolutely horrendous. And so I am just deeply, deeply thankful for him.
Sweet. Nice. Mr. Don.
This has also been a relationship year. This has been a really turbulent year. This is one for the books. But ups and downs, relationships ending, friendships ending, friendships beginning, new family members. Like this is the year that my family increased by, oh my God, I calculated this out the other day. I can't remember. It was like 3,300%. Finding my birth family has added over 120 new people that I get to meet.
Shit. That is a big family.
Yeah, they're huge. Apparently my family likes to breed.
God.
We are a sexual people, apparently.
Wow. 120 people.
Yeah, so it's literally, my family has grown from me, my mom, and my dad to a lot of people.
Wow.
That
And
many.
several others.
And I'm still dealing with transitioning, and I'm not always dealing with it that well because it just seems like so much at times. And but it has taught me this year. I am working on being thankful, not just for the relations I have and the relationships that I'm developing, but like being grateful for the relationships I had that got me here, right? Rather than looking at the way they ended or the way they, for whatever reasons things occurred, being grateful for what existed rather than what was let go. And, not just personal relationships, but professional ones too, because God damn it, that's my life too. Like, Michael, I'm listening to you talk about your experience with the movie, and I can't even tell you how many development projects I've worked on for multiple years only to be shot down at the last moment, or,
God.
To be actually like removed from the project at the last minute and that sort of thing. So it
is devastating.
Yeah.
It
It's
is
really hard.
awful.
And I'm sorry you're going through that. And I'm glad it worked out the way it did, where your work
Yes.
did get out there,
Finally.
So gratitude for that,
Absolutely.
It's been a year of many, many changes. So trying to be grateful, not just for the changes themselves, but for what you had that has transformed, that can be a good thing too.
Yeah. I like that point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really grateful for you three, for the podcast. This has been an amazing journey for me. because, when the pandemic hit and, I've never done a podcast. I didn't even like podcasts. But so much of my work and my world shut down in the pandemic. And this podcast was so instrumental in keeping that part of myself and my life alive. So I'm really grateful to the three of you and this program. And of course, all those people listening out there. I mean, my God. And I echoed what you said, Michael, about, and Trevor, about the people coming to the live show, the people being a place for us to land. That's invaluable. That's, anybody can talk, but it takes a lot of, it's quite different to be listened to.
Yeah.
That's absolutely a really good way of putting it, to feel listened to.
Yeah.
And heard, you know, and that your words are being received and reflected at times too, you know.
And of course, Trevor, my husband, this magical little guy. I say little because he's shorter than me.
Tiny.
He's just infinitesimal.
It is a tiny dude.
Little tiny. No, because he's shorter than me a lot. And it's just been so magical, Trevor, having you for my husband and as a partner in this podcast, a co-host. And we're so very different. And that is amazing to me every day, how much our differences reinforce our affinity. And I just love that. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, listener, for listening to our thank yous.
Yes.
And thank you, Trevor, for thanking the listeners for listening to our thank yous.
Michael, I'd like to thank you for your thank you of thanking Trevor. And
Dan, I would love to thank you for thanking Michael, for thanking Trevor, for thanking the audience. I really appreciate that. I know that chain is done because there's no one standing behind me.
I think we should do the Dora the Explorer thing of like, now you tell us what you're thankful for.
People can cards and letters, and
yeah.
What do they call that on the interweb? Email.
Oh no, I think they just say it out loud. We'll all get quiet for a second. We can listen, and you say it out loud.
Oh, like Mr. Rogers, yeah.
If you need more time, just pause the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, that was really impressive. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Or judgmental. Somebody said something really off-putting. Oh my God! Why would you say that?
It's Thanksgiving for crying out loud.
It is Thanksgiving.
I can't believe you
can't we leave politics alone?
Can you do like a reverse clink if we need to take it back?
Yeah.
Well, before you wander off and you enjoy your turkey and your pudding,
bit,
I thought we might just take a quick moment to re-examine some of the wonderful holidays that we have had in the United States surrounding Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Thanksgiving is all about tradition. Everything we do on that day is about tradition, from the parades and football games we watch to who we spend the day with to what we do and what we eat. While most people know about turkey, stuffing, and pumpkin pie, there are plenty of other strange traditions all over the United States that may be less traditional to a lot of us. So
I'm scared.
In Indianapolis, Indiana, they held an annual Thanksgiving event where they try to give back to the noble turkey and help it learn to fly again.
Oh my God.
What exactly did they do every year at the Indianapolis Turkey Toss until it was discontinued in 2006?
Turkey toss. That wouldn't be a clue, would it?
Oh, it might be. 1, launch frozen turkeys dressed in homemade flying costumes. 2,
oh my God.
Dress frozen turkeys in costumes, anchor a chain in them, light them on fire, and then fling them as far as possible.
Oh my dear God.
3, burn a gigantic wood and paper turkey a la Burning Man.
Oh dear.
Or 4, dress adults of at least 120 pounds as turkeys and then compete to see which team could launch them the farthest by any means necessary.
And unfortunately, it's probably not that.
But it should be, shouldn't it?
It should be.
My guess, maybe because this is the most practical version of it, is the dressing up the frozen turkeys and then launching them. And I suspect somebody might have gotten clocked by one of them, and the injury maybe had prevented further dabbles into the frozen turkey.
I'm just excited that someone has invented the poultry trebuchet.
I mean,
oh yeah.
I'm going to go with Michael because I have vague memory. Like, this is in my peripheral as a Midwesterner, but I didn't realize it stopped in some form. But the
I'll have
other
to
one,
restart
The
it.
turkey or the holiday?
the
What was option A again? What's the first one?
That was
costumes.
frozen costumes that help the turkey fly.
Like paper airplanes if turkeys were
Yes.
paper. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well,
Exactly like
that makes so much sense. Does anybody remember that WKRP episode where they dropped the turkeys out of the helicopter?
Very famous episode.
I was hoping that would be one of the choices. Okay. No, I mean, why not? Why not? If we're all going down, we're all going down together, thankfully. So I'm going to pick the turkeys dressed as paper airplanes. And
All right. We got 3 for paper airplane turkeys. And in fact, the correct answer is dress frozen turkeys in costumes, anchor a chain in them, light them on fire,
God.
and then fling them as far as possible.
God damn Minneapolis.
Apparently, the most popular costume for turkeys were baby onesies. That was the most traditional way of dressing them up. And they started igniting the turkeys in the final 2 or 3 years when they were doing the turkey toss. And then they gave up.
And they burned it for some. So is that because I have seen that visual of just the turkey, the cooked
As we will learn,
turkey wearing
the
onesie.
turkey toss is not unique to Indianapolis, but the flaming turkey with the chain, that was unique. All right, moving on.
They had to make their mark.
Put their spin on it.
All right. Let's see. The turkey trot had been a Thanksgiving tradition in Yellville, Arkansas, every year between 1946 and 2014. It was conceived as a way to call attention to the region's abundant wild turkeys. A highlight of the festival was the turkey toss, in which wild turkeys were tossed off the roof of the county courthouse.
Oh, dear.
In the 1960s, this was replaced by the turkey drop. But what exactly was the turkey drop? 1. Live wild turkeys were thrown out of a low-flying airplane above the thrilled crowd. 2. They switched to throwing frozen turkeys off the top of the courthouse. The tradition was discontinued after a reporter was hurt by flying frozen turkey shrapnel. A massive balloon was tied to a live turkey, which was then launched into the stratosphere.
No.
Or,
oh my God, I hope not.
They switched to live geese dressed as turkeys so the turkeys could fly away at the big moment.
A balloon in turkey. That is just...
No.
That is the
I
right
can't
kind of
support
horrifying for like...
No.
Boy,
I can't support that. I can't.
I mean, I'm not
support that in
supporting
any way,
it. I'm just saying like...
I know. I don't want to give it any more airtime.
What was the first one again, Don?
The first one was live wild turkeys were thrown out of a low-flying airplane above the thrilled crowd.
Oh, see, that's got to be it. That makes total sense.
Oh, I know. I don't know if I want to or don't want to hear the sound of a turkey free falling from a plane.
I really want one of the WKRP answers to be right. So I'm going to bank on this one.
Okay, we got one for the airplane.
Absolutely.
I'll go for frozen turkey shrapnel.
Frozen turkey shrapnel. The correct answer was, in fact, live wild turkeys were thrown out of a low-flying airplane above the crowd.
Yes.
Do they have parachutes?
The thinking behind the toss drop was that most of the turkeys would escape into the wild and increase the local population.
Oh, my God.
The problem is that while wild turkeys can fly, they're accustomed to doing it much lower to the ground from tree to tree. So a lot of the dropped birds would just drop and explode, and the ones that didn't would actually like run amok through the town while screaming hordes of people would try and catch it. So PETA finally put an end to this. Yeah, we have some weird ass Thanksgiving traditions here.
This is
I
what
do
you
not
have.
endorse either of these.
This is what happens when you underfund public schools, people.
I didn't even get to the whole like turkey trot thing, which is just a whole other bizarreness. All right, one last quickie question for each of you before we go. Every family has its own Thanksgiving stuffing traditions. What is the traditional stuffing that you guys made in your family when you were growing up? Mine was a cornbread stuffing with sausage and peaches, which apparently is weird.
Very weird.
It was amazing.
It sounds very Southern, honestly.
It made for a very wet stuffing, though. Dan?
So my grandmother made an amazing, she would call it dressing. And sometimes she'd put it in the bird, sometimes she wouldn't. But it was made with lots of mushrooms, moistened sourdough bread, chicken livers, and a good deal of pepper and salt. I loved it. It was amazing. It was incredibly dense, especially when you packed a bird with it. But I have never been able to find it, recreate it, find the recipe.
That sounds amazing. I would love to have tried that.
Yeah.
You add chicken livers to anything, I'm in.
Yeah,
Trevor.
I mean, I don't know. The stuffing in my household was never really anything super fancy. As an adult, when I started to do my own Thanksgivings, so I do like a hybrid, like half cornbread, half regular stuffing with mirepoix, sweet Italian sausage. So it's a little, sometimes I do dried cranberries. I usually don't, because it's one of those things people either love or hate, but it's a nice savory affair, and it's nice to get that, like the little bit of sausage. So you get some extra meat, an extra meat treat.
You would want extra meat. I'm realizing that I didn't think I had a particularly interesting stuffing story, but growing up for me, we spent pretty much every Thanksgiving with my dad's side of the family, who are very Jewish and very allergy laden. And so there was a lot of allergy requirements for pretty much all the food. So the stuffing was fairly simple, but it was vegetarian. And what I'm realizing, because you guys all mentioned meat of some kind in your stuffing, we never had that, and I think still don't. So now my older sister runs Thanksgiving, and she's like a legend for it. Like, she plans everything in like this schedule. She's an amazing cook, and you kind of just show up and like enjoy the food. Like, she makes homemade from scratch pumpkin rolls, like instead of cinnamon rolls, pumpkin rolls.
Wow.
The day before.
Well, of course.
Because that would be too extra to do on Thanksgiving. So it's a whole experience. And I think all of our stuffings are we never said dressing. We always said stuffing, and they were always vegetarian.
But they lasted for 8 nights, right, Michael?
Yes, exactly. We lit them on fire once, and they just burned and burned.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what turkey tragedies have you survived, dear listener? Trevor, where can they go to tell us about them?
Well, we're on Instagram and Twitter as at Big Fat Gay Pod. Although, truthfully, I don't know if we'll be on Twitter much longer. Who knows?
Twitter may knows if anyone will be on Twitter any longer.
Yeah.
We're on Facebook as the Big Fat Gay Podcast. 5 stars there. 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. 5 stars everywhere. Patreon, that's a thing. Subscribe. See what we got there.
We got a lot of stuff there.
No articles, but check out our website, www.bigfatgaypod.com. Well, maybe you're listening. Maybe your turkey's finally thawed, and you're about to put it in the oven. You don't have to worry about a grease fire or a convection, but you hear something hurtling towards you, and it sounds like gobbling, and it's getting closer and closer, and we just dropped a turkey out of a plane over your house, so
watch out.
And happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving,
everybody. Don't get beamed in the head by a frozen turkey.
Yeah.